If you work with APIs regularly, you're already using Postman or Insomnia or something like it. It's the easiest way to quickly test your API endpoints locally, remotely, whatever else, so you don't have to use curl every time you want to test something. These solutions tend to come with cool team features as well, where you can share reused queries with your team. Maybe you bundle those all up in a collection so that you can expose your API through this collection to other developers on your team and maybe even users externally. It's a really nice workflow for figuring out how a service works and how the API is expected to be used, which is why it's impressive how much enshittification has affected all of these things. If you're not already familiar with the term enshittification, to put it simply, it's the slow degradation of services and experiences users have used, usually for free, in order to pursue some new angle around profitability. Especially in our current post-zero interest rate economy, where everybody was kind of used to getting VC money and not having their users pay. Suddenly we're seeing more and more services blocking off core functionality without some type of payment, and even worse, degrading the experience in order to potentially find new angles for profit. Think adding advertisements all over the product or paywalling things you used to use all the time for free. This enshittification has been taking over a lot of the web, and it's not stopping at open source. Sadly, many of these open source projects that have been pulled into bigger companies have been running into endless problems around their projects being commandeered and slowly destroyed. So what exactly happened with Insomnia? Well, I'll show you real quick. I have this one request because I was using it yesterday still, but all of the other stuff I have here is gone. When I installed the Insomnia 8.1 update yesterday, it destroyed all of my local data because they wanted to push me to sign in. When I clicked, nah, I'll sign in later, I was greeted with this, with nothing in it, which is miserable because they're pushing so hard for you to log in or create an account. See all the places they're telling me to do that? Log in, sign up. You can't see because my face is covering it, but there's a login and sign up in the corner here. You can see them right there. There's the banner telling me to log in or create an account. And then at the bottom here, log in to sync your data. Yeah. The hell. It's very clear that they're trying to push you towards that create an account direction. But maybe this was just a mistake? Well, no, because Scratchpad is fundamentally different from the previous experience. You can no longer have collections. You can no longer have groups. You can no longer have plugins. You can no longer have a lot of the functionality around Insomnia unless you make an account. What the hell? This is a tool I was using all of the time. I installed an innocent looking update and now it is unusable. It just, they threw away all of the work I've done in it for the past year. Supposedly it's in some hidden folder somewhere, and if I install an old version, I can still access it. But I don't care because the trust has been burned. It's over. I will never use or recommend this tool again. And you might have also noticed they put their star count up here. There's a reason for that. There's a bunch of examples all over Twitter where the CTO of Insomnia brags about their GitHub stars and how they're continuing to grow. And this number seems to be something he likes to track a lot and seems to hope to use as they eventually IPO at Kong. And he has been incredibly hostile towards users. We look at any of these GitHub examples with him in it. Just going to scroll for downvotes and we'll be able to find it relatively quickly. Here we are. More info here. The data can be optionally exported before continuing with the cloud sync. This data can also be exported after login, yada, yada. With Git sync, this never goes, but stays in your Git repository. Challenges, we cannot continue to offer a great product with all these capabilities while working on an abstraction layer that supports 2 different storage backends for all data in Insomnia. Adds too much complexity to the whole product. Unlike Postman, the data is end-to-end encrypted, so there is data sharing concerns with Insomnia. Encryption is not the problem here. It's fundamentally breaking the workflow of the average user of your tool. You've decided that the people who use this in offline mode having a good experience is not worth the cost of just destroying all of them. Not a single upvote on that one. Not a surprise. It was told there's a wizard that shows up that tells you that data will be synchronized to the cloud and even gives an opportunity to export it. You mean the wizard that didn't appear until after the update was accepted? Are you kidding? How does he just adamantly refuse to acknowledge the fuck up here? It's embarrassing. And when this was posted on Hacker News, we immediately saw a bunch of alternatives. Bruno is dope. It's free and open source. I have a couple others I listed in my notes here. We have HTTP, however we're supposed to pronounce that. They somewhat recently added a UI to the project, and it's really, really cool. There's also Hopscotch, which is browser-based, works great. And I think they have a downloadable version as well. I'm not positive on that, but it's one of the simplest direct clones of what you would expect from something like Postman or the alternatives. And then there is Paw, which is now Rapid API because they were acquired by Rapid API. And when they were acquired, they made the tool free. This one is a native Mac app, which means it only works on Mac OS, but it's also a native app, so it performs great and is relatively well maintained. So you have a ton of great options, and I'm pumped to see all of them getting attention now because of the utter chaos that has ensued since Insomnia made these awful changes. And something like Bruno in particular is entirely offline, and this is the creator of it promoting his work. I will absolutely give him an upvote because that is incredible work. The business that ships this code base is migrating all instances from cloud optional to cloud required. HN user rambling CTO, see below is the author of the GitHub issue. Even worse, before you could use it without an account, now it locks you out. It's funny that the user rambling CTO is the one triggering a very much rambling CTO. But yeah, it's absurd. Here's a video that shows how to get access to your data without an account. How about a disclaimer that you're the one that caused the mess? You're the CTO of Kong. Do I want to read his other comments? I'm a little scared. Yeah, there's so much noise. An update on Insomnia 8.x here. And this is coming straight from the CTO, referring to everybody's issues here as noise. Insomnia can be used local only with Scratchpad, which yes, as I showed you, Scratchpad, the thing that has 1/5 or less the features that Insomnia used to have, and also isn't backwards compatible with my previous local environment. Scratchpad means if you're a new user starting from scratch, you can get some of the functionality of the product. But if you're an existing user that had a local set of data, you're absolutely fucked. This is another mini product inside of their product that they squeezed in order to pretend they're actually supporting local still. They're not. Insomnia can be used with an account without sharing any data using Git sync. Cool. I am not signing in and I'm not building Insomnia into my Git flows. Insomnia can be used with an account and without Git sync in a fully end-to-end encrypted way. Nobody can read your data. I don't care. The fact that this harps on encryption and data ownership so much, when none of those are the problem. The problem here is you broke workflows for users and you threw out a bunch of my data when you did it. Doesn't matter how well encrypted your data is if you can't access it. Local Scratchpad is still there, even though it supports almost nothing. Insomnia had a bunch of plugins and integrations and cool things a lot of people used, as well as collections and the ability to group different queries and such. All of that got thrown away when they moved to Scratchpad. In particular, plugins are just entirely broken and do not work with Scratchpad. They claim this was an accident, but if we look at the commit history here, we can clearly see commits where these changes were made intentionally. Log into Insomnia to enable plugins. Literally, this was intentional. They specified it here in the commit before all of this drama. So that's just a lie. Saying that it was accidental that this happened is absolute fucking bullshit. I'm trying to find the date on this. Yeah, last week. So this was a lie. And there's quite a few of these coming from the CTO over there. It's really sad and honestly kind of embarrassing. Scratchpad is heavily limited in capability because of this, which is not the experience we want to give Insomnia users moving forward. The whole storage backend being local also caused data migrations issues pretty much since Insomnia was born. If yours is a privacy concern, the data is end-to-end encrypted. Well, he keeps harping on that privacy thing. My issue isn't that Kong has my data and I don't want them to. Is I have data on my machine. I've been using this thing locally since it started to exist, and I've had no issues with it. One thing I really want to point out, I think it's important, is that we don't call out the creator of Insomnia who sold it. Greg is an incredible dev working at Railway now. He sold Insomnia because he truly believed that Kong would be the best company to maintain it going forward, and they committed to keeping it open source and pushing it forward. And when he felt like his role there was no longer relevant, he left, trusting them to maintain it going forward. And as we see here, acquisitions are always terrible for the product. So long, get Insomnia. Poor dude, watching his product that he poured his life, blood, sweat, and tears into be absolutely decimated by this company because of their obsession with GitHub stars. Expected behavior, no GitHub stars in UI. Yeah, the user hostile behavior has been going on for a while, so not surprising. Here's a similar example of adding a GitHub stars widget with no option to disable. It is pretty absurd that this piece of the UI is always there now, that this UI has continued to get worse. This all used to push up to the top, and I'm losing like 50 pixels here.
I'm sorry, our company doesn't work that way.
Just because they want to rub in your face how many GitHub stars they have and beg you for more. So if you haven't already, go check and see if you've starred this project. If you have, please unstar it. Don't play into their bullshit. Don't let them win. This is pathetic. And as you see here, I do not have it starred. I think I did before all of this, and I actually went and unstarred because of how absurd it is that they're going to ruin their product and continue doing such absurd user hostile things and literally ruining a thing I used to use all the time just because they want more stars and they want email addresses and they want to IPO. If the only reason you have a chance at IPOing is an open source product that you purchased, you might need a better value prop. And I really don't see this business as having a very valuable path forward at this point in time. If these types of things are necessary for them to get to the numbers they need in order to have a successful IPO, they've already failed. And it's truly embarrassing that they're going to attack their most dedicated users and they're going to destroy our experiences on our machines just to hopefully move the needle slightly in the direction of a valuable IPO. This is an absolute mess, and I've never seen anything quite like this before. And shitification is real, even in open source. don't even know how to follow this one up. Just don't give these guys any respect. They don't deserve it anymore. The CTO in particular is really rough. Please don't harass employees. They have no control of this stuff. Many of them are probably looking for their own exits, much like the creator of Insomnia originally. And I did know a lot of people who worked on Insomnia at Kong. None of them are there anymore. This is a mess, and I hope the CTO takes some time to reflect. I'm sure he's watching this video, and if you do, let me know in the comments how much noise I'm making that you're all upset about, because you screwed up and you seem to want to blame the community instead of accepting that. Well, now you have to blame me instead, sir. Thank you guys as always. I'll pin whatever videos here. YouTube seems to think you'll like them, so watch them if you haven't already. Peace, nerds. One more quick thing. I want it to be known how committed I am to this. Here's Insomnia. Insomnia is no longer installed on my computer. Time for me to go through all of these new alternatives to figure out what I'm using going forward. Fool me once, shame on me. I will not be fooled twice.
How much would it bum them out?